We're good. Oh, thank you. All right, we're live, and we welcome you to this regular meeting of our June school board meeting. Our mission is students empowered to be lifelong learners and to become productive members of the global society. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. All board members and the superintendent is present. At this time, would you join me in a moment of silence? Thank you. If you're able, stand with me, please. We'll say the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Next on the agenda is to adopt the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
Dr. Mann made a motion to adopt the agenda. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Ms. Davis seconded. All in favor, let me know by lifting hand. All board members are in favor. The agenda is adopted. Item 2 is communications. And first of all, in recognition is a little bit different since we're out of school. The students are out for the summer. And number 1 is to introduce to you a couple of new principals, Mr. Stowe.
So we are very fortunate to have with us tonight 2 individuals who are joining our team in a new responsibility. One of them who's been a part of the district for a lot of different ways and for a lot of different years, not that she's old. So we have that aspect, and then we also have the aspect of somebody new who's coming to us, and so we get both sides of that. So we wanted to introduce you tonight to the new Lancaster Elementary School principal, Lisa Middleton, who's been a part of but not only being an employee for us, but was a student at Lancaster. So she's going back home in a lot of ways as a student who attends there. So really strong connections there. We're excited to have her. Last year, she was at the high school as an assistant principal. So she's got a plethora of experiences to bring to us. And then joining us from outside the district, coming to us from Danville, is Miss Renee Lanigan, who is going to be the new principal at Camp Dick Robinson Elementary. And we are excited to have her join us and bring to us the experiences that she's had and new thoughts and new ideas that we can have those 2 work together and incorporate some neat things. One of the things we're most excited about is the connections that our 3 elementary schools are making with each other and the work that they're doing together. We're excited that both of these folks are ready to continue that process, and both have been hard at work already, hiring people when they can, providing insight for hiring when they can do that. So you all allowed us to bring Ms. Middleton in on June 1st, about to say January, on June 1st, and Ms. Lanigan becomes official on July. So we'd like to welcome them, give them opportunity to say anything they'd like to. I think you told them
No more than 15 minutes.
Well, I just want to say, for those that don't know me, my name is Lisa Middleton. I've been, like you said, with the district for a long time, and I'm just very excited to be able to go back home to Lancaster Elementary where I started, and I'm just looking forward to the school year. I can't wait to begin.
Thank you.
And my name is Renee Lanigan. This is starting off my 19th year in education. Of course, as administrator, a new role for me, but I'm excited to meet all the people in Garrard County, meet the people, the parents in my community around Camp Dick, and then get started with the teachers working on what the kids are going to need this year. So I'm just really excited to get in there and meet everybody officially after we get going July 1st. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you and welcome. We as a board look forward to working with you and assisting you any way we can to make your job successful. Item 2 under recognitions is new doctorates, and my esteemed colleague over here, Miss Davis, she is the one that really pushed for this, and I'm glad she did. But I'm going to steal a little bit of her thunder because I want to present this certificate of achievement to, who was Mr. Stoll, now he's Dr. Kevin Stoll.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations.
I'll preface this by saying, being in education as many years as I had, getting advanced degrees was not always encouraged. And I know when I was in school many years ago, I looked at the specialist degree and actually had someone at EKU to say, you can educate yourself out of a job. So it's sort of sad. So as education has changed over the years, and some states really encourage doctorate degrees, and I guess some districts in Kentucky may do that, but smaller districts many times don't. So the fact that we've had some people to take that initiative, and as we were just talking, Mr. Stoll will make our third superintendent who's had a doctorate degree. I hope I'm correct. Which is that right? And then we had our director of special ed. So that has not been common in Garrett County. And so when it happened this year, I thought we needed to make this recognition known and to bring it to the forefront. So I'm going to have Leslie come up first. We're going to have the ladies come first. Do you want us over here for pictures, or how are you going to do that?
We'll take all one.
Okay. So Leslie, you need to turn it off. So I'm just honored. Good to see you. So proud of you. Get this all together? Okay. All right. Okay. Bring this up here. And same thing goes to him, and you came to come over, is that right? University Campus, so it is an honor, and I've enjoyed, working with Caleb.
All board members?
Yeah, I would think so.
So the three certificates, you have to stand.
We say those on the-
Okay.
You have to stand in the front and we'll flag all that in the, yep. Alright, we already have.
All right, thank you all. Appreciate you all being here and being able to recognize you for your accomplishments. And item B is our site-based decision-making minutes, and I assume fellow board members have had an opportunity to look those over. Item C is audience comments. I don't believe. Item C is board member comments, and I would like to share something with you. And we received legal advice from our board attorney. So I'm gonna read the statement. The board has been made aware that Mr. Smith will be moving out of the board division he was elected to represent. While this is a disqualifying act under KRS 160.180(3), that law does not require Mr. Smith to resign from the board. The law also does not give the remainder of the board any authority to take any action concerning Mr. Smith. The information regarding Mr. Smith's change in residency has been shared with the Office of the Attorney General as requested by that office. Unless Mr. Smith resigned from the board or the Attorney General initiates an action to remove Mr. Smith from the board due to his change in residency, the legal advice we've received is to carry forward treating Mr. Smith as a full member of the board. This is based on longstanding court guidance that an individual who is properly elected to an office may continue to hold that seat and perform the duties of that office unless and until he resigns or is removed from office by the proper legal authorities. There is nothing else for the board to do or to discuss regarding this matter unless we hear differently from the Attorney General. I appreciate Grant Chenwick, our board attorney, for crafting this legal statement. As a board chair, I've shared this to any other board members. It's time for you to share anything that you'd like to.
I'll just say, that I look forward to continuing my position on the board. I don't plan on resigning. I spoke to everyone, and it seems like everyone's in agreement that they're supportive of me continuing with this. So, I ran not knowing that this was going to happen. It kind of came up from an unfortunate circumstance for me, but I really look forward to continuing to try to help Garrard County schools do the best they can. So, appreciate it.
Well, thank you. Anybody else?
From a personal standpoint, there's no doubt in my mind that you will represent that faction that you ran for, and undoubtedly you'll do a great job. I'm behind you on one.
Even though we represent sections of the county, we also look at the whole picture of the county, and our decisions are based on countywide, not section-wide. So even though I'll be sharing constituents, and that's okay. I look forward to working with you in this way. We've worked together over the years in many other ways, so this will be a new adventure for us. So you're welcome to stay. Okay.
All minds clear? Okay. Then item E is superintendent, and do you have any goal updates?
So I was asked to share some information outside of the work that we've been doing with the new construction project. Throughout the year, one of the things that we have intended to do is continue to make changes and improvements at our other schools throughout the year. And we'll continue to do that. If you all recall, last year, we asked for the right to spend down contingency a little bit. You gave us that permission. Fortunately, even though we've done some of these things, the current year contingency is still at the same level. We're glad to be able to say that. But we just wanted to share a few of the things that occurred or are occurring throughout this current year, and some things that will be completed this summer. So obviously we did the 3 playgrounds. We've completed all security vestibules. None of the facilities are in need of that anymore. There was some flooring that was replaced at GMS. All of the flooring at LES was replaced. We now are fully controlled with access control. We added a new water furnace at LES, 10 new HVAC units and 20 new compressors, 12 LED conversions for lighting across the district, a new boiler at LES, brick and roof washing at a couple of our sites, band hall tile added at GMS, a room division occurred at GMS for science, a new hot water heater at the GEC, fire alarm replacement panels at LES, a light pole replacement at GMS, blacktop repair at the GEC, expanded a bus loop at Paint Lick, added a field at the sports zone, parking lot maintenance at LES, GEC, and the board office, stage and ramps purchased and added at GMS, chair upgrades at GMS, door replacements at GCHS, and starting in the next couple of weeks, a restroom replacement and upgrade at GMS. It's part of your facilities plan. So we will take that off the table very, very quickly. And at CDR, LES, and PLE, all new restrooms in the areas that are between classrooms. So all of those will be renovated over the summer and be ready to go at the start of the school year. And from what we understand, that's probably never happened in those buildings since they have existed. We did also add additional trucks for maintenance and transportation, and added new snow plows to take care of that. And that's just a few of the things that continue to be done while we're doing all the other work at the high school. And that was a commitment that was made by the board to the community, that you would continue to make those things happen, and they are continuing to occur. Some of those things just aren't very fancy, but they're really critical. So when you talk about 30 different air units being impacted, that impacts what goes on a daily basis. So we just wanted to share that with you tonight. Make sure you're aware of those things.
Thank you very much.
Can we have a copy of that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Number 2 is construction update.
All right. I think I sent Mr. Stoll or Dr. Stoll a few photos. I'll kind of walk y'all through what you're seeing there. The first photo that you're seeing from our job site kind of shows you the depth at which we've removed on the site. So in scale, if you look at the little trailer, that's our construction trailer, that was at ground level when we started. And we've cut down about 17 feet at that level to be able to put the field in and the other infrastructure. What that's doing is we'll bring that now back up with what we call engineered field. That gives us a surface on which we can now build. And this will bring us up almost level or flush with the existing athletic facility that is out there. So that when the project is complete, we won't have a series of stairs and ramps going between one facility to the next. It'll be relatively flat, easily accessible for all members of the community. The next photo in this kind of just shows you bird's eye view, several hundred feet up in the air of the ongoing earthwork that's being moved. They have, up until today, focused on the front half of the project in preparation to build the parking lot facility. They have until July 15th to get that parking lot complete so that it can be turned back over to the district. The fencing that exists now right up against the school will move back on the other side of this new parking lot. That will be the shape and finish of the final parking lot out there. But then it lets y'all start utilizing that for the new school year. So you'll have your parking lot back behind the building. We're looking at other ways to be able to change and integrate, over the course of the rest of the construction, how traffic will flow into that parking lot. Worked with the district a little bit last week on that. But the next photo is just kind of the big bird's eye view looking out at the scope of the site, the earth that has been moved. Unfortunately, this isn't the pretty, ooh, look what's changed one month to the next. Dirt's being moved, dirt's being moved, dirt's being moved. That's really all we've been doing, but we've been moving a lot of dirt on this site. You can see, just in the scale of what we're looking at, those white, look like little marshmallows behind you. Those are 4 and 5 foot, some 6 foot storm system culverts that are going in place. We're moving a lot of water across this site. We're retaining a lot of water. So a lot of infrastructures had to go in before we could start construction. We had our kickoff meeting for the next phase last week, brought all the contractors in, met with them, gave them kind of the lay of the land and what we expect, and made the statement to them that, a month or a year from last week, we'll be doing final punches on this project. You'll be under building. You'll have a football field in place. Everything won't be complete. We've always talked about baseball and softball. They'll come, on a little later. But our intent is to have y'all playing your first home game on your new field next year. So for that to happen, a lot has to still happen here. We're roughly 2 months away from foundations and walls going up as of today, looking at the schedule. So we should see, right before school starts, you should start seeing walls start to be formed and buildings start rising up out of the ground, which is always the exciting part. So, any questions, anything we can help or assist with?
What, our Central Kentucky Region meeting will be held here for the first time on September the 12th. What kind of changes might we?
We should be seeing the kind of the skeletal bones of a lot of the buildings by then. We don't anticipate grandstands and bleachers starting to arrive until January. So you'll see the infrastructure for those buildings coming into place. You'll see still ongoing earthwork. There's still a lot of work to be done as far as earth moving to occur. But like I said, about 2 months from now, you'll start seeing the beginnings of the foundations. Once those come in, then we can start looking at walls, structural steel. I've got shops for it now to start reviewing and turn it over to my consultants to review. I would say we'll see skeletal components of the buildings in September.
Okay. Anybody else?
How about our neighbors to our east, how, we have any complaints, problems?
To my knowledge, there have been no reports from the blasting. I believe blasting is now complete. There have been no concerns brought to our attention today concerning impacts on your neighbors. As far as stormwater rain, we'll be heading into the rainy season within just a matter of months. We're still maintaining and controlling the same amount of water that has always flowed across your site through the same infrastructure. When they move away from this parking lot construction, their next phase will be to go over and start building the retention basin. And that'll be able to maintain and start holding that water back. And we should hopefully we're seeing that done before Christmas gets here, so that when we come into the spring, fall, we are then holding water back. You may see episodes where we have 2 acres of water being held back, given back. But no, to my knowledge, unless the district tells me otherwise, we've not had reports from the neighbors. They've been pretty diligent about going around checking what we call silk fencing. That just keeps the perimeter. They check that daily, beginning and at the end of each shift. So I think we try to stay on top of it because we know how sensitive that issue is from the previous experience.
Anything else? Thank you, Brad.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, next is personnel changes since our May board meeting.
They are posted for you for your all's review. Of course, this time of year, we see more personnel changes than we do other times during the year. So please take advantage of taking a look at those.
Okay, thank you. All right, item 3 is reports, and I think each board member's had an opportunity to meet with the treasurer. Item B is, I don't think we're having this or
We do not.
all right. Item C is bills as presented.
You all receive those on a weekly basis. We combine them all today and provide those to you for a summary. And again, they're always available to the public for their review as well.
Thank you, sir. Item 4 is consent agenda, and there's quite a bit in the consent agenda. Unless any board member wants to pull anything out, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda as is written.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Thank you. Davis moved to approve the consent agenda. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Hurt seconded. Any questions, comments? All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. The consent agenda is approved, which brings us to action agenda. And under action agenda, A is to approve pay application for the high school student athletic fields and facilities.
When we met previously, we did not have these pay applications, so this may be the first time that you've noticed those unless you've looked at this prior to tonight. These pay applications have been approved. Pay application number 6 for 7 earth movers is $489,277.13. And the 5th construction manager invoice for Trace Creek Construction is $12,000. It's my recommendation that you approve these pay applications for the GCHS project.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Hurt made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. seconded. All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Item A is approved. Item B is to approve fidelity bonds for treasurers for the 23-24 school year.
Each year, our treasurers who serve the district are required to have a fidelity bond. We're bringing that to you tonight and asking for your approval. It'd be my recommendation that you approve these fidelity bonds for the 2 treasurers for the 2023-24 school year.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Dr. Lamb made the motion. Do I have a second?
A second.
Ms. Davis seconded. All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. Thank you. Item B is approved. Item C is to approve update for the Garrard County Schools Financial Management Manual.
Garrard County Schools produced for the first time a full-blown financial management manual last year. The state has made one change, and we need to incorporate that change into our manual. Currently, we bid projects in a formal way over $30,000. The state is changing that limit to $40,000. we would like to make that adjustment in our manual as well. So it's my recommendation that you approve this update for the GCHS Financial Management Manual.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the update of the minute manual.
Thank you, Ms. Davis made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hart seconded. All in favor, let me know by lifting hands. The update is approved. Item D is to approve funding assurance for the 23-24 school year.
On a yearly basis, we have to assure KDE that we will abide by all the expectations for their financial use. Listed in front of you is a list of those, and we have always complied with those. We want to comply with those. We will continue to comply with those. So it would be my recommendation that you approve these funding assurances for the 23-24 school year.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you, Dr. Lamb made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hart seconded. All in favor, let me know by lifting hand. Thank you. Item E is to approve memorandum of understanding with Thomas More University for dual credit.
Thomas More University has indicated that they would be willing to provide some dual credit for our high school students. We're not exactly sure yet how that will play out, but in order for us to do that, we need a memorandum of understanding with them. We're excited about that opportunity for the high school. It's just another tool in their belt. So it would be my recommendation that you approve this MOU with Thomas More University for dual credit.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I move we approve the MOU.
Ms. Davis made the motion. I assume Mr. Hurt seconded. All right. All in favor, let me know by lifting hand. All board members were in favor of the memorandum of understanding is approved. Item F is to approve Frisky evaluation document begin with the 23-24 school year.
So our Friskies organization is reviewed by the state on a regular basis. And one of the things that they recommended to us was that we change our evaluation tool of our employees just to be something more specific for our Friskies employees. So Dr. Gresham has worked to make sure that we have that available. It's been provided, and we would like to ask that you approve that so we can utilize it in evaluating our Friskies staff. That would be my recommendation to you, that you approve this evaluation tool.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the evaluation tool.
Thank you, Dr. Lamb made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hurt second. You may have any comments or questions on this. All right, all in favor? Let me know by lifting hand. All board members were in favor. Item F is approved. Item G is to approve the Kentucky School Board Association policy update for the 23-24 school year. This is the second reading.
This is the second reading. You all have had an opportunity to review those. You had a first reading last month. It's my recommendation that you approve these KSBA policy updates for the 23-24 school year.
Thank you, sir. You've heard the recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Hurt made the motion. Ms. Davis second. All right, all in favor, let me know by lifting hand. All board members were in favor. Item G is approved. Item H is to discuss the possible action on level field.
So most of you have been made aware of this. You received some information from the Level family that pointed out that in the early 1900s, Mr. Level left a significant amount of money to the Lancaster graded school. And as response to that, they named the football field on behalf of him, became known as a Level field. Over the course of time, that designation kind of went away, and there was no demarcation of that. And they've, as a family, come to the board and asked that you consider making sure that that naming is reestablished and a signage be placed there for that. I'll be candid with everybody and tell you that I've worked here for 24 years and had no clue that the field was known as Level Field. So this has been a great learning experience for me. And when we asked for evidences of it, we were able to find that there's plenty of evidences. Some folks sitting on this board actually played on that field and did some things like that. So it's always good when you learn the history of the district. But as a board, you all have a decision to make about how you'd like to approach this. I would point out to you that you're not being asked to name the field. You're being asked to re-identify the field that was previously named for Mr. Level. So I'll be quiet at this point and allow you all to have any discussion that you.
Okay, and this time we'll put the cart before the horse without any discussion. Now, Mr. Joe Level has talked to at least two of us. Has he talked to the rest of you? He's talked to myself and Ms. Davis personally about this and shared this, and he had shared with me that he had intended to come to a board meeting, but if you had your packet, he's got quite a bit of evidence in the packet, plus this handwritten note from him. And like Dr. Stoll said, he had found ample evidence about the fact of this. I'm in favor of it myself, because the sign is not there. I never known of a sign to be there. And I think, it'd be a nice gesture for us as a board to approve signage or whatever needs to be done in that field.
Add too, he did talk to me as well.
Oh, he talked to you too, okay.
And I played on the level field, and you as a level field. I played football on it, and the level field got lowered because dirt taken from the level field was added to make the baseball field. Because baseball, we played for about the first 5 or 6 years out the J.C. Ballpark, high school baseball. And then that was done, and then of course we've since made that a soccer field. So, and according to his will and the things that were in there, the amount of money that he gave to the school equivalent today would be about $1.5 million. And so he's enhanced the educational possibilities of a lot and given a lot of opportunities. So I think it would be a good action on our behalf to come up with a sign that they would be, and ask Joe, is this sign level fields? Is this appropriate for you all? And to put it up in honor of a person who had a great deal of faith in this community.
So in conjunction with Joe Level,
Yes.
so we're going to entertain a motion here in just a little bit. So it would be in conjunction with Joe Level
Yeah,
about what signage and stuff.
to put a sign up. The field's always been known as a level
Oh, yeah.
field. It's not about naming the field. The field's
No.
always been named. It's just about us putting a sign up to display it to the world that we acknowledge the fact that officially or whatever it is a level field.
I think we should just clarify that this was the football field at Lancaster High School, which is now the soccer field for the middle school. I think that's
For the high school and middle school.
high school and middle school. So it's high school and middle school now play soccer on what was the high school football field. And I didn't play sports on that field. I went to many games, but I was involved in band, so I guess we marched on it. I remember more marching in the parking lot than I do on the field, but I didn't know it was a level field. I knew that Mr. Level was very instrumental in promoting education in Lancaster Elementary. His picture hung in the auditorium. It was very prominent anytime you were in the auditorium. So I too think that it would be very nice to acknowledge his generosity toward Lancaster Elementary. So this would be, again, the old Lancaster football field, which is now a soccer field. It does not impact the high school football field, which is the Dye House field.
Yeah,
So it's two different fields, just for people who may not
Yeah.
realize that when Lancaster was independent, they had their own sports.
Additionally, the first Little League baseball games were played on that field as well prior to moving out to what we know as the J.C. Park. That's where Little League baseball started on that field.
really. Thank you. Y'all want to say, Sheriff?
Well, I would just like to say I appreciated his letter, and so, Mr. Little, if you're listening, I appreciated that. And I also appreciated learning the history of it. So I really enjoyed reading the will and the documents from the newspaper, and it was just, I enjoyed learning a little history about it, and I do support putting a sign to acknowledge the person that made that happen and the family, so.
Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with everyone that we did a nice gesture to rename this. I played soccer there for 4 years when I was in high school and had no clue it was named Level Field. that the levels have been good to this community. Leo worked here at Garrett's High School, so I think it'd be a great gesture to do this for them.
Well, thank you. All right, are we ready to entertain a motion?
I'd like to make a motion that we as a board, put an adequate sign, representing the level field, for all the community to see and on.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a second?
I was like, second that,
Ms.
please.
Davis, second. All right, any further comments? All in favor, let me know by lifting your hand. All board members were in favor. Mr. Level, if you're watching, thank you for bringing this to our attention. We appreciate it. All right, that brings us to item I, and where we will be moving to executive session for the purpose of evaluating our superintendent. So I'll entertain a motion to leave regular session and move into executive session.
I'll make a motion that we move into executive session.
Okay, Dr. Lamb made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hurt seconded. All in favor, let me know by lifting your hand. Thank you. And thank you all. If y'all want to take some time to go use the bathroom or whatever, feel free to do so.
Did you say we were back, Chris? You're back.
Thank you, and thank you that may still be with us on social media or whatever platform you watched it. For me, we have just come out of executive session, and do I have a motion to enter into regular session?
I move we move into regular session.
Ms. Davis made the motion. Do I have a second? Mr. Smith seconded. All in favor, let it be known by lifted hand. All right. What we have spent so much time doing in our executive session is our annual evaluation of our superintendent, Dr. Stull. And we're getting ready right now to share the results of this evaluation. And I'd like to read a statement, if I may, in conjunction with this. The Board of Education of the Garrard County School District has completed the annual evaluation of Superintendent Dr. Kevin Stull for the 22-23 school year. The past year has been a positive one for education in our school district. 4 board members have served on the board for at least 1 year, and 1 has served for 6 months and has been able to observe and be a part of the success achieved this year. This year's evaluation focused on 7 standards of performance. And on standard 1, the average was accomplished. And to share with you, the numbering on these evaluations is 1 is needs improvement, 2 is getting close to achieving the goal, 3 is accomplished, and 4 is exemplary. So I'll be using those terms when I'm sharing this. Under standard 1, we have come together for a score of accomplished. Standard 2, exemplary. Standard 3, accomplished. Standard 4, accomplished. Standard 5, exemplary. Standard 12, accomplished. And standard 7, accomplished. So Dr. Stowe, I would say that is a pretty good evaluation, if I may say so myself.
Since you did it, I guess you could say so, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
And I will say, in addition to that, that we'll be working with Dr. Stowe, not Skull, in the next several weeks to develop goals for our district for the 23-24 school year, and we look forward to working together to make our school district successful.
Look forward to that too. Thank you.
So thank you. Now, another item that we discussed, and the discussion been going on with Dr. Stoll. I keep saying Skull. I don't know why. Over the last few months about doing a contract extension. And so on this day, I'm ready to vote, ask for a motion and a second on giving Dr. Stoll a 2-year extension, which would put him, give him an additional 2 years on top of the year that he has left through June the 30th of 2026. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to extend the contract.
Okay, Dr. Lamb made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, Mr. Hurd seconded. Any comments or questions? All in favor, let me know by lifted hand. All board members were in favor. Sir, your contract is extended through June 30th, 2026.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you all.
Thank you very much. Which brings us to item 6. Well, that's a good question. We need to vote to approve the evaluation.
So probably.
Okay, thank you, Dr.
Would
Lane.
be a good idea.
Would you make a motion to approve the evaluation?
Sure, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the evaluation that you presented.
Thank you.
Dr. Stoll.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
I'll say.
Okay, Ms. Davis, second. All in favor, let me know, lift your hand. Thank you. A lot of business tonight. And again, thank you that may still be with us on social media. We appreciate you being here. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Mr. Smith made the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hurt seconded. All in favor, let me know, lift your hand. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you for bringing that up. If you all will give me your evaluations.